My name is Jemele Hill, and what brings me to the Know Your Rights camp in Detroit is I'm from the city. So of course, I wanted to be here for such a spectacular event and cause. My first impression of the Know Your Rights camp is that it's just been very affirming. A lot of young people, especially a lot of young people of color, they need to feel a sense of belonging, and Know Your Rights camp does a really good job of not just giving them that sense of belonging, but also providing a safe space for them to express how they feel, to express the things they're going through. And it's also extremely educational, learning everything about your constitutional rights, to financial literacy, to mental health and wellness. I just love the broad spectrum that Know Your Rights is able to communicate to these young people. I've seen a lot of athletes come in and out of movements, a lot of athletes who talk about the causes that they support, but very few of them maintain the level of consistency that Colin has shown. And he does it not because he wants applause for it, not because he wants media attention. In fact, he does everything to avoid all of that. And so seeing his authenticity and his genuineness and what he's doing in the communities, doing the work, and not just going into the community, but also the way he's educated himself about the things that he's passionate about, that is rare, and that is very unique, especially considering he doesn't have to do any of this, and that just makes me respect him all that much more. I was extremely impressed really with all of the presentations at Know Your Rights camp, but of course, being a Detroiter, I really love the fact that they went over the Detroit history with a lot of the young people, obviously being from Detroit, because even though you can live in Detroit for a long time, you may not know why some of the things are the way they are. Explaining white flight, explaining the history behind the 1967 rebellion. My mother was 10 years old, and I've been hearing those stories my whole life, but I think a lot of young people don't necessarily have those same cultural connections. So going over the history of Detroit, and really with every presentation, relating it back to Detroit so they can understand what their rights are in this particular state, and also some of the resources that are right here underneath their noses that are available to them. Among the many things that I love about the Know Your Rights camp is that you understand that there is a legacy and a history there of athletes using their platforms to stand for something bigger than just their sport. I mean, if Colin wanted to, considering his success as a professional athlete, he could sit back, not do anything, and choose not to be involved. The privilege he was able to attain gives him that luxury. The fact that he chooses to do the opposite and to continue to risk those things that he worked hard for lets you know that there is a legacy there that he's just carrying on. I mean, from Muhammad Ali to Tommy Smith and John Carlos, there's a long, rich history of Black athletes who have stood for something. And I think what happens, especially now in today's age, we sort of forget that and lose sight of that. I've said this before, I mean, he's one of the most impactful athletes of this generation, because when he started his protest, I noticed that a lot of other athletes, it started to click in their mind that they can mean something more than just their production as an athlete. My name is Jemele Hill, and I know my rights.